This is our podcast, where we belly flop into the bouncy house of mystery, surrounded by conspiracies and unexplained phenomena, with theories so bizarre, they may actually make you say,
"Are they thinking with their butt?" Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Katie.
And I'm Chris.
Hi, and this is Stop
Thinking
with
your
Butt. We didn't even coordinate that. We did so good.
I was totally planning on letting you run with it
I know.
fully by yourself.
That was amazing. We're like one mind.
That was the opposite of what I was about to do.
Oh.
Let's do it. What's going on?
Okay. Since we've recorded last, what's the weirdest thing or the most interesting thing that's happened?
To us?
Yeah.
Didn't you have something that happened the other day that you want to talk about?
That's right. Okay, so my topic, because I'm going to be covering the topic today, is our very first listener request.
We have listeners.
We have listeners. People actually listen to this crap.
It's good.
We're doing good. We are trucking along, and we still just appreciate our listeners so much.
I do want to
This is going
say,
really well.
Good job, UK, for still holding up second place.
You are just killing it, UK.
Yeah, very
You're
proud of
doing
you.
very good.
So,
Okay,
what
so-
was the listener request?
The listener request is about the lost continent of Lumeria.
Lumeria, not Atlantis.
No.
Completely separate.
No.
No, so it is the same, but just different called.
Yes.
There you go. See, I know nothing about these topics. Katie does not let me know what she's going to be talking about.
Lumeria.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
But we have to backtrack a little bit because there's huge advances going on right now in the scientific community, in the space.
Oh, space,
in
not
space.
underwater,
No, not underwater.
where Atlantis is.
Okay, well,
Or Luminosity, whatever your thing is.
Lumeria.
Lemuria. Sure.
So I don't know if it's a theory or a fact. I think it's a fact that we know more about outer space than we do about the ocean.
I don't know if it's true, but I know that's a common saying. Yes.
Yes, I've heard that several times. And one of the main reasons is because we're trying to get off of Earth.
That is one.
So we're trying to make these advances in space.
We also don't want to go under the Earth and mess with all the aliens that are living
The mole
underneath.
people.
No, not the mole people, but all the orbs and all the space stations live underwater.
Right now, in present time,
Yep.
we are attempting to create habitats on Mars.
Yes.
This is a fact. NASA is going out, whether you believe NASA is real or not, is going out into the desert, and they're creating pods to try to simulate living environments.
Yeah.
So NASA's been attempting all these different pods out in the desert to see what settlement can be best established. Yes?
Real quick, would you ever volunteer for one of those pods where you have to live in it for like a year for studies?
Yes.
You
If
would?
it wasn't, okay, let me get there. Then we'll elaborate.
Okay.
NASA has found that they are able to establish pods that can create oxygen and water, and they can grow life and vegetation, and they can meet all human needs, but it can't be sustained for a long period of time. So
Yeah,
it's
it's not
eventually,
self-sustaining.
it's not self-sustaining. They can't make it last for as like a permanence. So it's all very temporary. Some scientists are saying that the only way to make life on Mars feasible is to terraform Mars.
What is terraforming?
Terraforming is introducing things into the environment and manipulating it and making the environment what you need to survive.
Yeah, more inhabitable for.
More inhabitable. So how would they make make the environment more habitable? So, but I just want to share this with you really quick. So you talked about what I volunteer to. 200,000 people volunteered to be the first colonists on Mars. 200,000 people. And
Are those one-way trips, you think?
100%. 200,000 people applied to colonize Mars, and from the applicant pool, NASA plans on selecting about 24 to be the first colony.
Wow, 24.
This plan can take effect as early as 2030.
We're going to watch people go to Mars. That's going to be awesome.
And so the 2030 would be the soonest that this could happen, and the first colony is well aware that they are not intended to return.
That's some dedication. But,
Would I live for a year in a pod on Earth?
Yeah, on
where
Earth.
I knew I would be.
In
Yeah.
return?
Yeah. If I had
For
nothing else going
science.
on. Yeah. It'd be
I'm
kind
sure
of
they
neat.
pay you.
It's only a year.
It's just like a deployment. Yeah, people do that all the time.
So I thought that was interesting too.
But would you go?
Would I be the
what
first?
Would be the
Would I be a
criteria?
first colonist?
Yeah, what would be your criteria? Do you feel like you have to have like no family, or? But I'm sure there's volunteers who go even though they have a family. Like, would you leave me or the kids
If you
to
could
go?
come with me, the kids.
Yeah, they're old enough; they can sustain. They can.
I would miss them terribly. No, life is so dang weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I probably wouldn't. I don't know.
I think maybe past the age of 50, I would go.
Yeah.
If I'm past 50, I would go.
Maybe if our kids grow up and hate us, then they'll totally go.
Yeah. Not now.
Yeah. Now life's good.
Okay.
The main reason why Mars is inhabitable is the environment. Mars is bombarded with solar winds because it does not have a magnetic field like Earth does.
Yeah, and those solar winds, it's not just windy, it's like radiation winds.
It's radiation also.
Right? Yeah.
The magnetic field around Earth protects us from radiation.
Yeah. So are they trying to create a magnetic field?
They're trying to create an artificial magnetic field
Wow, I've never heard that before.
around Mars to make it habitable.
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah, I was thinking about like, the Arnold Schwarzenegger Total Recall.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
When they're like, just hit the button.
So they go really scientific into how they can put these things out that would create small sections of
would it be just small sections for the magnetic field, or
just
would it
to start, and then they would have to spread them out.
Oh, that would make sense.
So
'Cause as long as it
They would
prevents-
put like a shield out to get a colony formed, and then they would expand.
Yeah. Okay.
So creating this artificial magnetic field involves newly developed plasma physics along the Mars L1 Lagrange point. Blah blah blah. Nerd. I wrote that down.
Well, question for you. Though they're theorizing it.
Yeah.
Are they saying they also have the technology, or is that one of those? Sometimes
It's
the
a
technology
new-
has to meet up with
So
the
it
theory.
says that it is a newly involved development of plasma physics.
Plasma physics. Never
I don't
heard
even
of that.
know. So it's new. So if they can get it to work, I think I go into it later, that it's not conceptually impossible. It's just fine tuning it is where I think they are with
Okay.
that process. So stabilizing the magnetic field, and this is where, this is bananas. Stabilizing the magnetic field would increase the planet's temperature by 4 degrees.
Increase?
Increase
Okay.
the temperature by 4, because it's further away from the sun, so it's colder.
Okay.
Even though it looks warm and desolate, it's actually colder because it's further from the
I don't know
sun.
why I was thinking it was hot.
Right? And that's Mercury.
Yeah.
Other
there you go.
direction.
That's what I'm thinking.
So it would raise the temperature of Mars by 4 degrees. Did you know that Mars has ice caps?
Well, I mean, if it's going to be cold, I would assume so.
Okay. Raising the temperature of Mars by 4 degrees would melt the ice caps and release the trapped gases like carbon dioxide, which we are experiencing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it would go into the atmosphere and create this greenhouse effect, which is what we need to survive. We just have too much of it right now. So Mars, they would create that greenhouse effect. The melting water would fill the ancient basins of the planet,
Okay.
and you'd now have a water source.
How large are they thinking? Like, are they thinking just for the colony? Or are they thinking like the size of multiple football fields, or like the whole Earth,
This
the
is
whole
eventually
planet?
going to be a new planet,
Huh.
or a refurbished one.
Well, yeah. It's
Okay.
it's not just going to be new.
Shush. Okay.
Okay. Dramatic.
So as of
Like-
right now, we are attempting to insert above ground pods and livable shelters, but the idea of terraforming and creating an artificial magnetic field is not totally out of the realm of possibility. This is something that they are actively working on right now.
Yeah.
Do you know what else is apparently not out of the realm of possibility?
Let's think here. Animals, livestock,
Okay.
plants, farming.
Do you think that it's possible that since we are trying to terraform Mars, that maybe Earth was terraformed by aliens millions of years ago?
Well, there's always a possibility for that.
Okay.
Enlighten us.
There's a theory
Mm-hmm.
that Earth was just like Mars millions of years ago.
That makes sense.
Just like Mars, and was made habitable through terraforming by ancient... Okay, I learned a new phrase, and I'm going to use it forever. Ancient astronauts.
That's the phrase?
Yeah. I think it's cool. Not aliens, ancient astronauts.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Or space travelers,
Yeah.
ancient astronauts.
I'm glad you like that.
I love it.
For some reason,
Look, I got it tattooed on my eyelids.
No, stop. Well, it's funny because I know we were talking about like the lost city of Atlantis. And we were talking about Mars a lot. And for some reason, I just thought the topic was going to be Mars and terraforming. But then I'm like, no, she has to wheel it over here to Earth at some point.
I am weaving a tale.
I know. Now it all makes sense. It's all connected.
There is many layers in a woven tale.
I was seeing all the pieces, and now I'm seeing
and they're all coming together. Okay, now let me blow your mind.
Done.
Let me blow the balls off your mind. By telling you about balls. Calm down.
What? Okay. What are you talking about?
I'll tell you what I'm talking about.
Oh, you're going to talk about balls?
I'm going to talk about balls.
Okay.
Okay, so Earth was once just like Mars. The question that a lot of people in the scientific community argue over is whether life started on Earth or if it was brought from somewhere else to Earth.
Prometheus.
But something that everyone agrees on is that the Earth's atmosphere was created by the presence of microbes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fact. That's a fact. The atmosphere is created by microbes. Where did the microbes come from? Ancient astronauts.
Nice.
Ancient astronaut theorists.
Oh, there's a whole category for them.
This is a whole world.
Nice.
Speculate that the microbes were brought to Earth in metal balls called Klerksdorp spheres.
What a weird name. Where did they come up with that name?
They were found by a scientist named something Klerksdorp.
That makes more sense. Okay. It's like how?
And these are very cool. This might have to be the picture for the episode. These round spheres were found scattered in mineral deposits of Africa and have been dated back to more than 3 billion years old. And they're buried and trapped within rock that's much older. So it's not like they are part of the formation. They've been inserted into or they've settled into this ground. These spheres, they range in size from 0.5 to 10 centimeters, are constructed of metal, and are hollow on the inside. And they're filled with gritty sand.
So they found formed, forged metal that's billions of years old, or millions?
Mm-hmm. Billions. 3 billion.
Hasn't the world been around, 4.5 or something?
3.7.
What? I don't think the Earth was even formed at that point.
3.7 is the first life form, is when they predict the first life form.
Oh, okay.
So these balls are 3 billion years old.
I need to see pictures of those.
So they're like little marbles. And look it up really quick while I find my spot.
While we wait, what's it called again?
Klerksdorp sphere. So Klerksdorp.
Oh, got it. What? What? They're all like elaborate and everything.
Let me see. I want to see if you're looking at the same picture that I saw. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Okay, so Chris is looking at a picture of the Klerksdorp spheres right now. Give me your initial thoughts.
That is crazy. A couple things. A, it does look like a metal ball. B, there's horizontal lines that are surrounding it. So it was crafted. Yeah, these things look awesome. What? These just look crazy.
They're hollow on the inside. Well,
and they haven't been debunked or anything?
No. Well, maybe not. I'll tell you what some people think they are.
Okay.
But
no, they look interesting. They look like size of like ping pong balls.
They're like a ping pong ball.
Or maybe
exactly.
Even, yeah.
Like between marbles to ping pong balls, all within that same size. The spheres would be hypothetically scattered across the globe. And then I said, sorry, flat earthers, because the earth is a globe. So if you were going to terraform a planet, you could take these spheres, insert organisms into them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Spread them across the globe. Eventually, the organisms, like seeding, the organisms would spill into the atmosphere, multiply, divide, and eventually change the environment completely over thousands of years.
We always talk about the long con.
The long con.
Oh my gosh, this is like extreme long con.
All right.
And it's interesting because we did just seed our front yard.
And you can see... Well, you can see it growing, so you can see the transformation over time.
Yeah, but the whole spreading across, it's not just one or two, but you feel like then you would have it more in one area. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
The spheres and similar can be found all over the world. In the U.S., they are called Moki marbles, but they look the same. And they can be found on Mars, and they're called Martian blueberries.
What? I feel like this should be in the news. Why is this not? This is the first I'm hearing about this.
I know, right? Okay.
That's crazy, though.
And so think about this. I think about this all the time whenever like a new edition of something comes out and you're always like, don't buy the first edition. You gotta wait. You got to wait for all the bugs to be spilled. If someone were to terraform Earth they wouldn't bring civilization here first. There could be problems. What do you bring first? Dinosaurs, plant life, other animals, species to study, and then you come. Right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Are you with me?
Yeah. You can't bring humans without them having food or water, or not water.
Who did we
food.
send into space first? Dogs and monkeys.
Yeah.
You don't guinea pig with yourself. You guinea pig with others. So who terraformed Earth?
Well, the ancient astronauts.
Atlanteans.
Oh, Atlanteans. Okay.
Now do you see? Now we're all coming full circle.
Okay.
So the answer with who terraformed Earth possibly lies with Atlanteans, or extraterrestrials from the Lumerian star system who inhabited Earth more than 50,000 years ago.
It's very specific.
It is very specific.
Okay.
So the legend of Atlantis was first proposed by Plato, the philosopher Plato, like way back in the... Plato claims to have heard the tale. And this is where it's like, where did Plato come up with this? So Plato claims to have heard the tale of an oceanic city by his father.
Okay.
Who was told by his father, who was told by their grandfather, who blah, 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 was told by an Egyptian priest.
Well, keep in mind, too, they did have all of the, their pantheon and Zeus and all those other
Yeah,
stories.
I was like, they had... I feel like history back in the day was much more like sacred and elaborate. Yes. Plato apparently gained this knowledge through lineage by an Egyptian priest.
Okay.
And Egypt is known as one of the oldest civilizations. And so a lot of information does come from there in terms of like words and stories and things like that. Plato describes the city as being told to him as that Atlantis was inhabited by people who were moral, spiritual beings who lived in a highly advanced utopian civilization. And Plato himself believed that the Atlanteans were half human and half god.
Oh, hybrids.
Which we talked about. I know, they keep coming up. The Atlanteans have been described through texts as being much taller and fairer than today's average human beings. And their average lifespan was 800 years. And they were really robust and strong.
Okay.
It's hypothesized that this advanced civilization immigrated and populated much of ancient Europe, Africa, and the Americas, whose heroes eventually go on to inspire Greek, Hindu, and Scandinavian mythology.
Okay, so it's not just, so it's the Atlanteans who traveled.
The Atlanteans are the Greek gods. The Atlanteans are the Hindu gods. The Atlanteans are... Everything.
Got it.
These Atlanteans are the origin. So some accounts also mention that Atlanteans possessed some sort of device that allowed them to channel energy and time and space. But mysteriously, Atlantis vanishes and leaves no trace.
What energy would they need to really...
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not
crystals come up a lot. Like, using crystals comes up a lot, but I don't know to, like, channel energy and harness energy. But,
yeah, but there's no,
is it
like,
for
lights or anything. Maybe for communication potential, right?
That's what I was thinking.
Because they're even thinking about what, like, the pyramids and some of the different things. They're, like, could be a communication piece. Yeah, you could travel through that. I don't know.
So what happened to Atlantis? How come we don't know about it? How come no one can find it? You can literally point to any spot on the globe and someone would say that's where Atlantis was. It could be anywhere. Nay.
It's in a specific spot.
One of 3 specific spots.
Oh, okay.
As the debate goes, few researchers claimed that this utopian kingdom was a real continent located off of the Bahamas, and it was swallowed up by the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, Bahamas. I was always thinking Europe or, the Mediterranean.
That's what I would think. That's just one theory. And then another group suggests that current Antarctica is the newest version of what was Atlantis.
Nah. Well, how did they even get to the Egyptian, the lineage if it happened in the Bahamas?
Exactly. I don't. Okay. Wait. More than that, though, is that there is no definitive proof that Atlantis ever existed.
Yes.
So how could you know where it is if you can't even prove that it was? Finding Atlantis and discovering this ancient advanced race of beings could answer literally everything. And if it did exist, it's in one of 3 possible locations.
It reminds me of a computer game when they have Easter eggs hidden in the games.
Yeah.
Like, yes, this is how we found you. Well, like they hide it. And
when I was researching this, all I could think of was Legend of Zelda.
Yeah. Like I found the gem.
Yeah.
Crystal.
Yeah. Are you into this so far?
Yeah, I'm curious where.
The first possible location is that Atlantis, this is actually like pretty good theory. Atlantis was originally along the coast of what is now Greece, specifically the city of Santorini. In
Greece is where I thought it would be.
Greece, during the 17th century, there was a huge volcanic eruption, and it totally reshaped the island. It was like an oval,
Yeah.
and now it's like a crescent moon.
Okay.
This volcano erupted so...
Wait a second. Did you just do geography?
I did. I threw that out there.
Oh my God.
But I'm not confident, so we got to move fast.
Okay.
Don't interrupt me when I'm talking geography.
Keep going, babe. Keep going.
No time.
Keep going.
Okay. The Grecian volcano, it erupted so violently and then collapsed on itself, creating an impression in the land where the volcano was is now a half moon bay. And it's described as a cauldron, and it's called the Caldera.
Okay. The Caldera.
And
okay.
this is a fact. There was a volcano there. It did erupt. It collapsed. It's
done. Signs.
Done deal. A lot of the coastline crumbled into the ocean, and what remained on land was covered in layers and layers of ash. It wasn't until 1860s workers were quarrying ash to build the Suez Canal.
Okay.
And they dug down and they discovered artifacts from an old city. So some small-scale digs took place. The remains of the city stayed there for another 100 years until a real excavation began in 1967. And underneath 200 feet of ash and debris, the city of Akrotiri was discovered.
Okay.
So at this point, they're not associating it with Atlantis. They're just saying that this
It's another city civilization.
It's another city, like Pompeii.
Yeah.
Before Akrotiri was discovered, the Parthenon in Athens, Greece, was supposedly the greatest and oldest feat of architectural prowess. The Parthenon is supposed to be like one of the oldest, most
Do you know what
elaborate.
that looks like? I can't visualize it.
It looks like it's just a bunch of pillars.
Oh, like the standard one. Like
yes, it's the famous Parthenon. You would know it if you would.
Yeah, it
know,
looks like the standard roof on the
Yeah,
roof
the
pillars.
triangle roof with all the
pillars. Yeah,
all the pillars. That's
okay,
the
got
Parthenon. Really elaborate carving and things like that. So that was supposed to be the most significant old architecture because the engineering that it required to get the weight of those things up or to stabilize those things was like beyond the time.
Yeah.
In Akrotiri, as they're excavating it, they're noticing a lot of similarities in the architecture.
Mm.
So Akrotiri was dated to be more than 1,000 years older than the Parthenon.
Mm.
So it's even older than the greatest architectural feat.
Greece plagiarized from them.
Maybe. Akrotiri had level paved roads, a city center, dense population, indoor plumbing, attached city sewer, multi-story manor homes with store flooring, clay bathtubs
Nice.
with views of the ocean. Listed on Zillow for $3 million.
I was going to say, sign me up.
The city is still being excavated. They haven't excavated all of it. And it's estimated to have a population ranging from 1,500 to 30,000.
1,500 to 30,000? That's
It's a big range.
big range, but
But
okay.
they've only uncovered the smallest section. So it's who knows what else. They're still working on it.
Okay.
The city is being excavated, but the artifacts that are being found, or the lack of artifacts being found, and the lack of bodies being found suggests that the people left before the volcano erupted.
I mean, that could be a thing, because if a volcano was like showing symptoms
Or signs that it's going to
I
erupt.
would
So
get out
yeah,
too.
they're like, it would indicate that the volcano must have been erupting for days and given the inhabitants time to leave.
Yeah.
And
okay.
usually volcanoes are, they come hand in hand with earthquakes.
Yeah.
Or tremors or whatever. So
Yeah,
they
there's
knew
signs.
it was going to erupt, so they left.
Or they just look at the animals, because animals know it.
The animals always know. It's speculating that the inhabitants of this missing town or this lost city had time to flee.
Mm-hmm.
But where did they go? There's clay seals. They've found clay seals and pottery in the city that would suggest that Akrotiri was part of a vast trading route.
Okay.
Atlanteans were supposed to be expert navigators, using stars and constellations and star mapping, and they were like supposed to be like seafarers and like one with the ocean.
Okay.
and they live for so long. So being around for hundreds of thousands of years and expanding into other lands, creating other settlements would eventually lead to trade routes.
Yeah.
It was just like a natural progression of things. If you have some Atlanteans
Do you
here,
know if the trade routes are like pretty heavy back around that time between Greece and Egypt or Iraq or any of those areas? I don't know.
I think that they were during this time. Let me see. I'm going to say so. I'm going to say every region has its own.
They're being
product.
established.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like every country, every region has its own. What am I trying to say? Like their product, they
import.
Their export. They have their own export. There you go. So every city has their own like unique export. So their trading would probably, and there's something else that suggests that too. It's also interesting to note that there are a lot of ancient structures that have been constructed in similar, like really complex, unfathomable ways. And it's thought that all these structures all over the world, different timelines, could only have been made by one culture.
Which is?
Atlanteans.
Oh. Ancient cultures. Okay. The astronaut culture.
Ancient astronauts. So,
because they found that. So when you're talking about these other architects across the world, I know I was seeing a couple of video posts or whichever of even in like South America and everything else in the Maya, you'll see the Mayan and the traditional building and the structure and so on. And then also, it's like stone and mortar and all, not brick and mortar, but just stone walls. And then like right across from it, it's like really precisioned, smooth stones.
Exactly. The precision stone cutting can be found all over the world, and it's most commonly coastal regions.
Yeah. That makes sense. I didn't realize it was all the same quote unquote race.
It's hypothesized that
would
if
make
it's
sense, though.
not constructed by the same culture, at least knowledge passed on from the same culture.
I don't know why I was thinking the Atlanteans were just down there and just hanging out in their own little home. No, it's
you would think that the
universal.
Yeah, when I was thinking Atlanteans, I'm like, oh, like an island under the sea next to SpongeBob.
Yeah.
We have to think of Atlanteans as being the first race on Earth. Not just
and travelers.
A section of Earth, all of Earth, and travelers.
For a long period of time.
Right? Okay. Structures that are similar are one of the oldest known architecture on Earth is the megalith temples of Malta.
Malta.
It's an island off of Italy.
There you go. Look at you directing. Okay, good.
It's very precision, upright stones with a huge ass center stone.
Okay.
That can like 2-ton stones, and that's similar to all these other megaliths on the coastal regions of the globe.
Okay.
There's at least 44 other megaliths along the coast of the globe that all have building similarities, the very precise stonework. And so if Atlanteans were navigators and seafarers, this would all make sense. The construction would be passed around.
Well, they wouldn't build it. They would use the GGs. Or EGGs.
EGGs. Yeah. So now we're thinking that maybe Akrotiri, this newly discovered city, not necessarily Atlantis, but maybe a branch off of the original Atlantis. So it's like one of its suburbs or proverbs, I guess.
Yeah, well, I guess at that point, it doesn't even matter if it is Atlantis or not. If it was based off of that race, right, and was created for that race. So so at this point, they're saying that there was no humans in these cities in addition, or are they only this extraterrestrial astronaut thing?
My thought is this: in order for this to work, is that humans would still have had to evolve from monkeys. And there was Atlanteans and cross hybridization.
That's a lot of ands.
And Jello.
So because we do know they're Neanderthals and so on, but eventually, those all got crossbred out. Right. Eventually.
These could all connect.
It is going to all connect.
It's all connected.
I'll even mention one thing because I'm doing an episode that we'll talk about shortly, RH negative. Yeah. And there is a ghost DNA cell or whichever that was introduced into Africa that they couldn't figure out where it came from. It was a ghost because they didn't know it has no other animal or creature or whatever has it.
I can't wait to hear all about that.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that.
I want to have that.
Yeah, so it's interesting.
So there's 2 things that were found in Akrotiri that make people think that maybe that wasn't Atlantis, but they knew the Atlanteans.
Find their art. Oh, you pointed at me. I'm on
They
it.
found the art.
Bam, there you go.
They found 2 murals that covered some of the walls in the city, and one of them was blue monkeys,
Blue monkeys. Okay.
and the other was a flotilla, not a tortilla,
Flauta.
not a flauta, a flotilla, so a fleet of ships.
I didn't know that was.
Yeah,
That's what that
flotilla,
was.
a fleet of ships.
I was thinking of like the Rose Parade.
Yeah.
Like a float with a bunch of roses going down.
Oh my!
Well, that's a little elaborate
That's a little elaborate. They would have a flotilla every year down Main Street.
It's so beautiful.
Couple things.
Ships would make more sense.
Couple things. Greece is not a native habitat for monkeys. So it's like, where did they get this idea of monkeys?
But if they were big
If they were in a trade route,
trade routes, I mean, that would be exotic and unique, and they would. And once
would
you bring a
probably-
handful of them,
right?
they breed like monkeys.
Yeah, I was like, you had a monkey for a little bit, got kicked off a mountain by a donkey.
That poor monkey. Yeah, so I'll take a quick 2-second story of this. We were in Afghanistan, our first deployment. Mm-hmm. We had to go up this large mountain to do an observation post, and we call it donkey train because the donkeys would carry up some of our supplies. And sometimes the donkey train commander, as we call him, would have like a pet monkey. And then one of my soldiers bought the monkey from him because it was entertaining. I was in charge of the platoon. I probably shouldn't have allowed him to buy it, but I was like, whatever.
But you kind of wanted.
I'm like, sure, it's a monkey.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. It's okay. And so they got the monkey. We're playing with it for like maybe 5 minutes, and it kept moving around. And so we still had stuff to do. And so they were like, well, we don't want the monkey to run away, so they'll tie it to it was like a case of water, right? So like 24 pack or whichever. And so it was these mountains were really steep where we were in northeast Afghanistan. And the monkey would go and was messing with the donkey because, the donkeys were still up there. They're walking around.
It's being a monkey thing.
Doing a monkey thing. And it's picking the tail of the donkey, and the donkey kicks, and it kicks the case of water, and the case of water goes tumbling down the mountain with the monkey. And we're like, oh no, the poor monkey. Man,
Did you ever find out what happened to the monkey?
I'm pretty sure it's dead.
You can speculate.
You just watch.
That is
It lasted
sad.
10 minutes. We were horrible.
It's really the saddest
And so I
thing
think
I've
after
ever
that,
heard
I
in my
said,
life.
let's hold off on buying animals, guys.
That is still one of the saddest stories.
It was, but yeah, 10 minutes.
But who knows?
Case of water just.
Who
I'm like you would think that the donkey picked this case of water and like shot put it out. That's how it
That's
went.
how
It
hard
went.
it kicked.
It went pretty far, and then it just went straight down. There's no
Did you
incline,
guys name
straight
the
down.
monkey? Did the monkey have a name?
I don't know.
It didn't even have a name.
I think someone tried to give it a cigarette.
Trigger warning. Back up 30 seconds. Skip ahead 30 seconds.
No.
This is terrible.
All right. Anyway,
Okay.
moving on. You brought the monkey up.
I know. Okay, so then this leads to possible Atlantis theory number 2. If Akrotiri was not Atlantis, but just a stop on the trade route, because the monkeys in the flotilla suggests that maybe there was communication with other civilizations.
I would think too that if the Atlanteans are taller, that the average door, the structures, the
higher.
frames, seating, you name it, would just be naturally taller ratio wise than a normal civilization.
Possibly. I don't know. They're still working on the city, so I can't answer much about the rest of the city there. This leads to
Theory number 2.
A lost continent called Lumeria.
Okay.
It's also called Kumari Kantam, but they are one and the same. They are the same thing.
Just use one name. I'm trying to like
let's go with Lumeria.
store them all in my head.
Lumeria. I know I don't want to overcomplicate things. Feel like I already am. Lumeria is believed to be a lost continent located in the Indian Ocean.
I never realized that the actual reason why we have Illuminati are to protect the Lumerians.
Maybe.
Illuminati.
We'll have to check that out next.
I'm sure there's some type of hidden message in there.
Yeah.
Sorry,
There probably is. There's so many connections. Okay. But my brother says that if you are looking for a connection, you'll find it everywhere. So maybe we're looking too hard. This continent would have taken up much of the sea and bordered, I'm going to get into geography again, the western side of Africa and the eastern side of Asia.
It's pretty large.
Wait, eastern side of India.
Oh, you even have notes.
No.
You have
wait,
notes.
Wait, hold on. It would have bordered the eastern side of Africa and the western side of India.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay.
That
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Right,
At
okay.
first I was like, that's
Okay.
babe, I love you, but
I'm sorry. I did so bad at geography.
hey, you nailed it. Keep it going. Keep it going.
I still use my keep it okay. I was like, I still use my GPS to get to like the grocery store. Okay. What first brought up the idea that there was once a continent in the Indian Ocean came from the research findings of a lawyer and zoologist, Dr. Philip Sclater. He was observing primates and lemurs, and he observed that lemur fossils were being found in Madagascar, which is just off the coast of Africa, and in India.
Yeah.
But not in the land between, not in the Middle East, and not in Africa. So that would suggest that there was a landmass between the two.
Yeah, that was lower than the sea level, and then they had the Great Flood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Exactly.
I'm with you.
That's the theory. That's Lumeria. And then other scientists agree with his thought process that there was another continent there because of the flora and fauna of the surrounding continents.
Yeah.
So it's like certain plants are here and there, but not in the middle. So it would suggest that there was a bridge at some point or a connection.
Yeah.
Which I was kind of thinking like Pangea. Like when the world was connected. But they're not saying Pangea. They're saying it's already separated and there's a continent there.
Well, if these things are around for thousands of years, right? Well, no, we're seeing the Atlantis came about the 50 to 100,000
50,000 years ago.
Yeah.
But they started terraforming 3 billion years ago.
Yes. Oh, I'm curious how, like that Pangea and how it moves.
Within
how long?
that 3 billion years before they came.
What about in the 50,000? Do you think?
I don't
You
even
think it
know.
move enough?
I don't know. Maybe not in 50,000 years. So this theory that there's this missing continent there. Later, I'm assuming because he's studying lemurs, he names it Lumeria.
That makes sense.
And other scientists kind of back him up on this theory that there was something there. So it just becomes this renowned, mysterious, missing land of Lumeria. And then all these like other theories started to come out that Lumeria was really like heaven on earth, like a Garden of Eden. And that Lumerians are thought to be a peaceful, highly intelligent race of people that existed millions of years ago. In Lumeria, life worked in harmony and beings were all seen as equal and were deeply reverent to the Mother Earth. Then there's myths of a great flood or cataclysm, which brought about the end and the sinking of Lumeria.
So I think it's interesting that this is very similar to the Anunkai, just in a different location.
They are, okay, that's why I'm like, why are we all arguing about this? It's all the same thing. Everyone's believing the same thing. They're just calling it different things. Right? It's all super weird. Yeah.
I can't believe I did not know the Anunkai a year ago, and now I'm like, I have a tattoo of it.
Yeah. You don't.
here.
I know. Look, my underwear says Anunkai. Yeah, it's like I want to get it out of my head. I want to go back to being normal.
No, it's fun. I like it. We're trying to open up.
Lumeria wouldn't have just sunken overnight, or like a catastrophe would have.
Well,
we've seen what tsunamis can do. We've seen
no, it would be the Great Flood, because even the Sumerian race and all that civilization, it used to be. So if you look at the Persian Gulf, the Persian Gulf used to be a landmass.
Yeah.
Right. And then after the Great Flood, once the magnetic poles were melted by the
by the too close of planet Nibiru.
It flooded a lot of things. So it's well within the sea level. They said was like, I don't know, 100 feet or something like that. Higher now than it used to be. So it's pretty vast. So you go down 100 feet or whichever, you can cover a whole continent pretty quick. So I believe
People are calling them Lumerians.
What if during the flood, it pushed all those people to Iraq, to the Sumerian?
Oh, which is then the next. That's where the Anunkai.
That's the next.
Okay, well, we'll see. Okay. this lost continent of Lumeria is really Atlantis.
Yeah.
But because they didn't know that, they're calling it Lumeria. So Lumerians and Atlanteans, they kind of go through the research. They kind of go back and forth, but they mean the same.
I didn't realize they thought it was a whole like continent, not or a country or whichever, more than just a city.
They thought it was a continent. And so where did they go? So,
well, shame on you, Disney, for saying lost city of Atlantis.
No, lost continent of Atlantis.
Those idiots.
Okay. Yeah, they're idiots, but the people who believe that they shapeshifted into whales and dolphins and merfolk weren't idiots.
Is that what happened?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, keep going. I'm sorry.
And then, so the Atlanteans / Lumerians shapeshifted into whales, dolphins, and merfolk.
So that's the second extraterrestrial that we've talked about shapeshifting.
And others went into underground tunnels deep into the earth.
Oh, mole people.
They're all coming. They're all the same. Others became the stone people. Okay. Does that mean caveman?
No, I think stone, like they almost like blended in with the earth.
I don't know. I didn't look that up. Stone people.
Well, did you see that for some people think that these stone giants exist and they'll take all these pictures of mountains and rocks or whichever that looks like actual faces or looks like rock pieces. People
tell you how many things about giants have been coming up lately.
We may have to do an episode on the
Nephilim.
Yeah. But the stone piece, depending on how large, I'm not talking about like 9 feet or something like that, but like large pictures of like stone.
Yeah.
You know, people just take pictures and they see what they want to see, but there is that theory out there.
Yeah. Oh, it's nuts. Oh, and then other Atlanteans just fled to other lands. So possibly Egypt or Samaria.
Do you think this is where mermaids came from? Like if they're
according to this, it is.
Oh, okay.
According to this, it's saying that Atlanteans shapeshifted and became merfolk and whales and dolphins.
Well, if they shapeshift, they would only shapeshift in order to sustain or live in their newer environment.
Maybe they shapeshifted into their new environment and then eventually just kind of fizzled out.
Yeah, they realized, this is not worth it.
This isn't necessary.
Good job. I could breathe in water, but it's dark.
Yeah.
Sucks.
It sucks. People pooping me all the time. Yeah.
Magical gift for nothing. Okay.
Yeah, if you could shapeshift into a mermaid, would you stay that way?
You would have to have the environment. The environment would have to sustain that, right? So unless there's like,
you know what, we've polluted the ocean so much that maybe they're like, forget this.
No, I don't even think of it like before even pollution, right? Yeah. Like the Little Mermaid, right? There's a whole kingdom in there. Okay, that's great. Let's stay in our shape form. But if it's just the ocean, I mean, what? No, why don't we just swim around and then get out of the water and continue our civilization?
I would teach seals how to synchronize swim.
What has the Atlantis come to?
A circus for me. Cities falling into the sea, though, historically has happened time and time again. Mm-hmm. So that's not far-fetched to say that a city or something could fall into the sea and disappear, be swallowed by the ocean.
City compared to continent, though, you can't keep interchanging it.
Okay. You want to go there? You want to play that little game? I got you.
I'm just saying they're not the same.
Theory number 3.
They're not the same.
Theory number
3. Okay. You can't say, do you want a cupcake or a whole bakery? People eat cupcakes, so you eat the whole bakery.
I'm going to give you the bakery. Just chill out.
Tell me.
Actually, I'm not quite done with. Okay, I'm not done quite feeding you yet, baby bird. We're still with the Lumerians. We're still with the Atlanteans. Yeah. This mermaids, sea.
Did they find anything though? So you're talking about like
so that's still
the animal and so on.
That's still just hypothesized.
But no one found anything under there.
Found anything to suggest it. So it's still just theoretical. And if this race did exist on this continent, where did they go?
Do we know if there's any large fishing water in that area?
Like Finland?
No. But like, fishing or anything that would like catch a mermaid.
No. But
or is there theories where it's like, we can't fish here. Why can't we fish here? Don't worry about it.
No.
Move along.
But there are other areas.
that have been banned or something in that same area or in others?
In others.
Okay, tell me about your third one.
I'm not there yet.
thought you
Let
said
me
you were
finish up Let me finish up the second one.
I thought the bakery was supposed to be the third one. Okay, go ahead. Finish.
I will.
Okay.
Let me finish giving you the cupcake before I give you the bakery.
Give it to me.
The cupcake. So if Atlantis / Lumeria fell into the ocean, where are the inhabitants?
Well, if I didn't think they turned into mermaids and just hung out and die, I would assume that they had enough time to evacuate. Even with the Great Flood, it would still take a little while for it to move. So they would probably either go north or they'll go anywhere.
What trajectory north?
Due north.
Like space north?
Oh. Oh, you mean the third dimension?
Oh, yeah. So there's theories.
The Z-axis.
There's theories that they returned to the Leda star system where they originated from.
I wonder if
So they returned home. Or they used their resources to communicate with other ancient astronauts for rescue.
I wonder if this coincided with the coming of Nibiru.
Oh,
because that's how the Anunkai left. They waited until the planet got into their close enough, and then they said see ya, and then there was a handful that stayed.
It's getting ready to flood,
and it was
on the planet.
This is around the same time that
What is happening?
I know, right?
What is happening?
If Atlantis knew that this great flood was about to happen, and they're like, we're out of here, whether they went through Nibiru or if they went through their own spaceships or if they were one and the same.
We're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, just colored a little bit different.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Back to Atlanteans though. We're going to pretend like.
Yeah, but that's okay.
And
they went the Z-axis. Got it. Celestial starships.
So some people think that Atlanteans left Earth and others think with 100% certainty that Atlantis existed. It did sink, but the Atlanteans never left.
Yeah, mermaids, right?
No. So if you were paying attention to what I said, that some of them shape-shifted into whales, dolphins, mermaids, and others went underground into tunnels, and others fled to different lands.
Ah, sorry, I didn't get that piece. You're right, I didn't listen.
You didn't. Point and case.
No one's talking about the mole people?
This is where I'm like, what? I was like, this is a leap. Some people believe that the Lumerians or the Atlantean civilization are now living under Mount Shasta in California.
Where? Okay.
Mount Shasta is a dormant volcano.
Okay.
And it's been the focus of non-Native American legend. So white folk.
Non-Native. That's an interesting way to say all that.
I thought it was interestingly phrased too. Say that Mount Shasta is hiding a city called Telos. And Telos is an advanced being from the lost continent of Lumeria, or Atlantis. The legend grew from an offhand mention of Lumeria in the 1880s.
Who offhand comments about it? And who recognizes it?
This man, Frederick Spencer Oliver, published a book called A Dweller on Two Planets.
Interesting.
Okay. Which claimed that the survivors from a sunken continent called Atlantis were living in or on Mount Shasta. Oliver's Lumerians lived in a complex of tunnels beneath the mountain and occasionally were seen walking the surface dressed in white robes.
So they mold their way down and then they came into the mountain. Now they're hanging on the mountain in white dresses.
So this guy, according to Guy Ballard, I'll tell you about him. While hiking on Mount Shasta, he encountered a man who introduced himself as Count of Saint Germain, who is said to have started Ballard on the path to discovery, the teachings that would become the I Am activity religious movement. The movement believes in the existence of a group called the Ascended Masters, a hierarchy of supernatural beings. These ascended masters are believed to be humans who have lived in a succession of reincarnations in physical bodies or cosmic beings. Beings originated from the great central sun of light in the beginning of all times. I'm going to cut the part out. That sounds stupid.
That is so stupid.
Over time, those who have passed through various embodiments became highly advanced souls are able to move beyond the cycles of re-embodiments and karma and attain their ascension, becoming immortal. Ascended masters are believed to communicate to humanity through certain trained messengers like psychics and mediums.
They're not doing a good job.
What do you think about
That?
that?
I think that it seems like it's coming from one person who thinks that they met, but they don't really explain. I mean, the reincarnation piece, okay.
I've heard, okay, and I remember I told you this before. I think I even told you on an episode that I've heard that really talented, gifted people are supposed to have been reincarnated several times.
Yeah, but in
Which
this,
follows in this theory that the more you're reincarnated, the higher your celestial being, or the
but here's the
more-
thing: most reincarnation theories that I hear are you don't know where you're going to be when you get reincarnated. So if you're a part of this mole community
How
underneath
would
the
you know?
dormant,
Yeah.
it's almost like when someone passes, they're able to direct it to someone,
Maybe.
right? So, and I don't think I've heard that anywhere. This could be the missing link.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? It's kind of interesting. Unless you think of like the Dalai Lama, where their next successor,
Oh, successor?
yep, has to be someone who thinks that they're reincarnated,
They're reincarnated.
from the previous Dalai
Lama.
Lama. Typically, they don't go all around the world. They go within their local villages. So it could be something like that too, where
Possibly.
it stays within a range or something.
Yeah.
I don't know either.
And an interesting thing is that there's a lot of UFO sightings around Mount Shasta. It's also been called the New Roswell.
Has it? Mm-hmm. Is there a military base around there or anything?
And then this other guy, there's a legend that J.C. Brown, a British prospector, discovered a lost underground city beneath Mount Shasta in 1904. Brown had been hired by the Lord Cowdrey Mining Company of England to prospect for gold. And during this process of discovery, he found a door in the side of the mountain.
Side note, I think it's pretty interesting that in the 1849 gold rush, that even England's trying to get
Was
involved.
out there.
That-
They were
what?
all there.
I had no
They were
idea.
all there.
Good on you, England.
Yeah. Everybody came a
Oh
hopping.
man, sorry. That was very interesting.
Out of all this, that's what you got?
Yeah, I did. That's my takeaway. England was greedy. No.
No. We
No,
love
but they
our
didn't find
English
any.
brethren.
So he said he found a city. What
So
was it?
he discovered a door in the side of Mount Shasta, which led to a cave, which sloped down for 11 miles. And at the end of that 11 miles, he found an underground village filled with gold, shields, and mummies, some being 10 feet tall.
Then, so what do you do with that?
He told this to John C. Root,
No one went back.
who proceeded to gather an exploration team in Stockton, California.
Edge of my seat.
80 people joined the team, and on the day the team was set out for exploration, Brown didn't show up, and he was never heard from again.
So what is that? What do you think about that?
Full of crap.
Yeah, I mean that
Full of crap.
because even if they didn't show up, okay, I guess I just enter this random door and go down 11 miles.
Never found a door.
So then, yeah, I would not.
Okay, so people are still looking for this door.
Oh my gosh.
People are they're looking for it. They are. People come. They're calling it like a mecca, a trip to Mount Shasta. Park rangers are like, people ask for the Lumerian entrance all the time.
And what do they say when they ask?
They don't.
It's like
they don't have an
NASA.
answer.
Don't worry, it's not going to
It's
crash
not
because
impending
it
doom because
doesn't
it's not
exist.
there.
Oh
I don't
man.
know.
So
So-
I like your option 2 one better.
This is still option 2.
Oh my god. I'm sorry.
Okay. So this is really sad though. Get ready for this. So the Stockton Record, so the newspaper in the area, on June 9th, 1934, reported that 80 Stocktonians, so residents of Stockton,
Yeah.
California, were found that morning at the inner harbor waiting in vain for boats. When questioned, the people said that they had signed on to an archaeological expedition, one supposed to take them north to Mount Shasta and deep inside the mountain. There, these people believed that recently there had been discovered the remains of a race of higher beings and the Lumerians. Many Stocktonians sold their houses and quit jobs, expecting to become rich and famous, like Lord Carnarvon, who had decades earlier discovered the treasure-filled tomb of Tutankhamun.
Oh, that is so sad.
They all thought they were going to make it rich.
The Mount Shasta massacre.
Yeah.
They all go look for this JC guy. Oh my God.
The
That's
boats
horrible.
did not come. The record ran a jubilant top page fold, page 1, headline 80 Stocktonians left behind in search for lost continent. That's so sad.
That is sad.
So,
Poor people.
nothing's been found on Mount Shasta. This J.C. Brown guy who claims to have found this lost city in the mountain full of gold disappears.
Does he ever come back like 20 years later saying like,
but
it was true?
No,
They were going to rob me or something.
Someone tried to find out, like a sleuth, tried to figure out who he was and what happened to him. It turns out they think that he was using a fake name. They think that his name was really John Benjamin Body. And
Mr. Body.
Mr. Body, like Clue. And he had relatives that lived in Stockton, California. And he was a 79-year-old retired, really was a mining engineer.
He just wanted to fuck with someone.
He was just trying to fuck with people.
Douche.
Isn't that kind of sad? That's the conclusion, is that it's just an old man who was messing with people.
Or
Here on vacation. And then left.
he really thought it. And then he had amnesia.
Or, yeah.
And he never made it back.
I don't know. So, but the interesting thing is that Mount Shasta has become a hotspot for UFO sightings.
Mm-hmm.
And if Mount Shasta is full of an ancient alien race, ancient astronauts, there's other mountains in the world that also have UFO sightings.
Yeah.
So maybe there's an ancient race living in the mountains of the world.
Due to mole people. See, who would have thought? Atlanteans, moles. Give me the bakery.
This is the bakery.
Nice.
This is the third and final.
I'm hungry, babe.
And this is absolutely God's honest, real. There is an 8th continent, and it's called Zealandia.
Zealandia?
Zealandia.
Okay.
And it was discovered in 2017.
Okay.
Fact. This is fact. Zealandia, also known as Tasmantis, is an almost entirely submerged mass of continental crust that subsided after breaking away from Gondwanaland. 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 83 to 79 million years ago. It has been described variously as a submerged continent, a continental fragment, and the name and concept for Zealandia was proposed by blah, 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 nerd, 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 dork, dork, dork.
You don't even have to write those in your notes. You can just leave that out. That's it.
Today,
Side note, I was hoping your Zealandia would be, or Zealand or whatever would be Zombieland.
I know, I wish.
Ew.
So today the land mass is 94% submerged. And what is out of the water is New Zealand. That's all that remains of Zealandia. So New Zealand is just an island? Nay. It's all that remains of the 8th continent. So this underwater continent, was that really Atlantis?
Or was New Zealand Atlantis?
Come on, New Zealanders. Give us
your beans.
Give us your secrets. Turn into a mermaid before my eyes.
They're trying to distract us with The Hobbit.
Is that New Zealand?
That's where they filmed New Zealand.
Oh, it's where they filmed it.
Yeah.
I still want to go there, though.
Yeah, they have a whole village.
Yeah.
So what's the bakery? Okay, so
so there really is an 8th continent underwater. So could that be Atlantis?
I don't know. Where's the artifacts? I want the goods.
I know.
I want physical proof. Don't tease me like...
They said that with the core drillings that they've done of Zealandia.
You didn't have one witness who was like, I swear I found a...
No,
mermaid.
Nobody's found it. But all the artifacts that they're pulling up from Zealandia are 100% confirming that it was above water at some point.
Okay. That's good to know. I did not know that.
Yeah, so it was 100% above water. They have a geographical map of what it looks like and what it looked like before it was submerged. And they hypothesized that it was the same, like a cataclysmic flood or disaster brought it underwater. So, but what did you think about the Klerkendorf spheres and the fact that Earth was possibly terraformed?
I like that. But then when you hear that they're in Mars, well, what the hell type of terraforming is that going on?
What makes you think that Mars hadn't been terraformed millions of years before?
Well, get with the program.
And all of its resources have been used up. What if Mars was Earth 5 billion years ago? What if Earth is just a pit stop in the galaxy and there's Earths all over the universe?
Well, yeah.
What if every 200th planet is terraformed?
Yeah, I'm just saying they did a bad job on that one. That's all I'm saying.
What makes you... So, okay, they're in our solar system, 9 planets. Maybe they're skipping down the line. Maybe Mars was terraformed, and then they used up the resources.
Or they did everything, and they're like, hopefully one of them would work.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. I did think those stones were interesting.
So the problem with...
I was just hoping that it's almost like it was just different when I think of Atlantis and all that fun stuff, right?
People
well, not just mer people, but like weird technology or additional ruins. I do like the fact that there's on-land ruins that were similar and so on, but like recovery of these quote-unquote civilizations was lacking. And I was surprised at that.
Yeah. So there is some theory that Atlanteans worshipped Poseidon. But this is where it got confusing. If they worshipped Poseidon, that means that they weren't the first civilization.
Or the astronauts.
Or maybe Poseidon was a figure from their civilization that they brought to Earth. I don't know. But they're saying that...
That would make sense if you remove the Anunkai or the ancient astronaut. Then who else is there but Poseidon? And if you just thought that, oh, well, they don't worship... You know what I'm saying? That's your filler.
Yeah.
Compared to ancient astronauts.
Yeah. So they worshipped Poseidon.
Mm-hmm.
And
remember, worship means worked for.
I was trying to make the connection. If the Atlanteans or the Lumerians, whatever you want to call them, because they're the same thing, were the first civilization, or if they terraformed Earth, why would they be worshiping Poseidon if he's a Greek god?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think that.
But then I'm thinking, well, maybe it was like a god to them, and then Greek adopted it, and it became Poseidon.
Potential, yeah. So
one more thing about the Klerkendorf spheres. Some geologists say that the Klerkendorf spheres are actually naturally made.
Oh, okay.
And that they are a combination of volcanic sediment, ash, and when condensed, they can make these spheres. And the natural wind and turning over time will make that impression in the middle, make it look like as a line across the horizon line or the circumference. But other people are like, round things don't happen in nature. Straight lines don't happen in nature. So a lot of people don't believe that these are natural formations.
Did you find any conspiracy groups that you would think that would want to hide this information from the rest of the people?
No.
Oh, okay. Like NASA's trying to cover it up for some reason.
No.
It's just an unknown.
It's just an unknown. Anyway,
I got excited about the mole people. That you didn't seem to get too excited about that.
Because I thought it was stupid. Oh, I didn't tell you who our listener was.
Yeah, no, you didn't. Who is it?
My brother Jason. Oh. Hi, Jason.
Nice. That was good. My next question actually is, who is this listener?
Well, so he suggested looking it up, and I'm like, okay, I'll look into it. And I'm like, this is dumb. But you know what? It's possible, and thousands of people believe in it. And there's still 300 churches that support that I am movement.
Well, just so you know, I am glad I am going to put in a Incredibles reference because the mole people come out and they have to defend the earth against the mole people, because what that symbolizes, and the symbolism by that, is the fact that the mole people, aka the Anunkai, aka the Atlantis, are going to come back one day.
Yeah.
Murder us all.
Why would they murder us?
To enslave us, babe.
Oh.
And that's why you had the Incredibles being the human race fighting off the mole people. You didn't see that? I saw that.
Is that why humans have a history of slavery? Like, we just, because we were slaves once? So we're like, we'll just enslave anybody?
I think that's just common.
Is that a stretch?
No, yeah, I think it's a stretch, because it's like, well, I just took over this nation and I want to build something. You all who I just conquered, you all build it. Well, guess what? I believe mole people. I'll throw my hat in the ring.
Okay. You believe in the Lumerians? You believe in the Atlanteans living in the mountains of Mount Shasta?
No. Don't believe that. Especially when all those people got conned.
What if they, what if they
huge no.
are the Watchers that you talked about?
I do think that there is some similarities between the Atlantis story and the Anunkai and the Watchers being post-flood. That was interesting.
Yeah.
So, okay. What any topic takeaway that you want to do? Or did you already give me that?
No, I'm gonna tell you. Do a background check on the leader of your archaeological explorations before you sell your property.
But people went off their word back in the day. So, I don't know. Those poor people.
My word is as good as the deed to your house.
Yeah. I just, my takeaway for the day is, even though you're a zoologist, you can still be important.
That's an insult.
No, hey.
Zoologists are important. Butthole.
I thought it was pretty interesting that you're talking about like his two things. It was a zoologist and what was the other thing?
He was a lawyer and a zoologist.
Lawyer, yeah. I'm like, of all the people to find a new continent, I would not have guessed the lawyer, lawyer zoologist. So good on you. You know, you overcame.
He can fight you about it.
You
He
overcame.
can convince you it was the animals.
That's my takeaway. But good job. I was like, anyone can be it now.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you have anything to say to us, if you want to comment, give us options, talk to us about more catchphrases. See you later.
How will they contact us on email?
You can email us at stopthinkingwithyourbutt@gmail.com. All one word, all spelled out. You can also follow us on Instagram at stopthinkingwithyourbutt and Twitter at stopthinkingwyb.
Please follow us and let us know if you have any comments. And other than that, I hope everyone stays curious. Let's go!
Don't interrupt me when I'm talking geography.